were not tartar sauce scalpers. No. It was a gigantic, muscly cat that would cook for you.
I made sure to suplex the
There's
tree.
Oh no,
Okay.
is his girlfriend his sister?
No.
What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
Welcome to Born in the 80s, episode 512. I am your host, as always, John_Danger. We're going to take a small pause here just to remind listeners that John is an idiot. This is episode 521. Thank you for your understanding, and back to your regularly scheduled Born in the 80s podcast. And I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Matt. How could you interrupt me? I totally didn't forget to say the second line that I've said 521 times.
Is that? I thought I was the one that screwed up. But
No.
yeah, I guess I just have that subconscious cue baked in.
Yeah, that's how it works. And then
Oh, and TJ's here
and
too.
then we're also joined by TJ, but I didn't get to interrupt him. TJ, you have
Yeah,
a
it's
house. Is that a dollhouse?
That is a dollhouse.
Okay. He has a dollhouse
like a
next to him.
Handmade one. Yeah. I don't know who made it.
Rodrigo the cat is
It's
also
old.
here, but he's currently off mic.
I can see his head popping in and out
Yeah.
as he is in your lap. My cats don't do that. My cats don't. My cat, Steve, doesn't like to sit still. And Spinelli only will lay on a lap if you're on the couch with a blanket. And then she gets dollar signs in her eyes because she sees that and she goes cha-ching and she jumps on your lap. Yeah, so I'm drinking just boring old seltzer because I was going to go to the store before we recorded to go grocery shopping because Lauren's out tonight. And I was like, you know what? I'll go grocery shopping. I'll buy something for dinner. And then on my phone, my cellular telephone, the Domino's app said that they had a medium stuffed crust Parmesan crust pizza and Parmesan bites for $17.99. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have that for dinner. So I had that instead of going out to the grocery store.
You did that instead of getting the corn dogs you were probably going to eat because your wife doesn't like corn dogs.
Yeah, right. That's it. No, I was actually going to buy some like nicer like breaded fish because I have some frozen French fries, and I was going to throw that in the air fryer and kind of have like a fish fry. But
Oh, yeah.
I even was Googling best tartar sauce because that's how you shop now. Is like top 10 tartar sauces ranked.
And you get AI generated news articles
Oh,
that
not
pulled
always.
shit from Reddit.
Not always.
You
Or
just get
it's-
something that's jam-packed with affiliate links, so they end up having like 17 different categories at the end of it.
Yep.
Like, just give me one.
No,
Come on,
this
don't
list
give me
had
the-
some like weird like bespoke tartar sauces, and I'm like, just tell me the ones that I can buy in the grocery store, please.
Just get generic Hellmann's and mix it with your relish of choice, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Done.
Look,
I desperately want to use the name
'cause
bespoke
then if-
tartar sauce for
You know,
something.
then if you want to, if you want a
There's
dilly
the
tartar
episode
sauce, you
title
could
right
go with that. Yeah. Bespoke tartar sauce.
bespoke tartar sauce. No, but like, I don't know. Like that's just what everything is in the world now. Is like, you can't just buy something. I mean, whose fault is that? Is that the internet giving us infinite access to like reviews and / sales? Or is that the fact that we can't trust any product on the shelf anymore, so you need to make sure it's reviewed? Like, and you're not getting
the death
scammed.
of like the personal recommendation.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody in my life that I would ask for recommendations about like tartar sauce.
That's true.
Like,
I mean,
get it
tartar
from
sauce
Google.
is pretty niche, but like, you know, like it's just like in a way I can't just buy something. So I'll just start off with the John graphics card rant. So I've wanted to upgrade.
Did you have tartar sauce scalpers?
There were not tartar sauce scalpers. No. They didn't buy out the entire stock of tartar sauce and then sell it on eBay for 100% markup. No. So, for those of you who don't know, the NVIDIA just launched their new Graph 50 series. So it's their 5.0, and then some other numbers that signify how powerful they are from 9 down to 5. So there's the 5090, the 5080, the 5070, the 5060, which hasn't been announced yet, but it will be, and the 5050. And there's TI versions of those, which are like more powerful ones, but the TIs tend to be like the the level above cut down. So like the 5080 just cut down to like a 5070 Ti. So I've been looking at trying to get one since they announced them in like January around CES. They're like, we've got the 5070 Ti, $750. We've got the 5070 for $550. And it sounds like a lot, but when you look at the 40 series, the 4070 Ti was an $800 card, and the regular 4070 was a $600 card. So this is a price cut, you know, pretty awesome. Like that they released a new generation and it wasn't more. So you should have that. The downsides, the power uplift in this generation is not nearly as high because they're on the same exact die of silicon. So it's the same. I think they use the 3 nanometer process or maybe 4. Either way, they didn't get more. They just are better versions of the previous, you know, cards that it gets, the 40 series. So they're not like a huge leap, but cheaper. You know what I mean? But are they cheaper? No, because you can't buy them. They sold out immediately because this is the culture that we live in, that everyone has to be a hustler and go buy a card and sell it on eBay for fucking $250 markup, which is, you know, for the 5070, that's 50% of the entire cost extra. Like, it's just insane. And people are buying them because people are insane.
Everything is Ticketmaster now.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
everything is Ticketmaster now. Because, like, the real way to do this is to just take pre-orders. Then scalpers can't exist. Because if nobody's going to go rush out and buy your card if they know that they can get one in a month. Because why would anyone pay $250 extra instead of waiting a month? There definitely will be people, but much fewer. So people are taking a lot of the uncertainty around Trump tariffs right now, like the Chinese tariffs that are in effect and have gone into effect since these prices were announced. So people were worried about that, but the cards were still coming out at MSRP at $750 and $550. So it was like, okay, but it was like, we've got like 2 at this price. And then we got the RGB fan super cool gamer edition, you know, for $1,000. And it's like, we got what? So you can buy, well, you can't actually even buy the $1,000 ones. Those have all been scalped to hell. But in theory, those were actually possible to buy. Whereas the ones that were priced, you know, the way that they said that they're supposed to be priced, those were not able to be bought. So I had like a price tracker. I went online, you know, the first day. I couldn't get anything at the 50 series, so I gave up. And then AMD, which is the other big video card manufacturer, was like, we got our 90 series, which is their next edition. They got the 9070 XT and the 9070, and they were supposed to launch the same time, but they delayed it for like 3 months. Like, they were supposed to launch, and so everyone was like, I think they're just waiting to see what Nvidia does and what the market's like. And so they announced what the prices were going to be, and they were $600 for the XT, which is equivalent-ish to the 5070 Ti, and then the 9070 was $550. So $600 is $150 cheaper than the Ti. It's an amazing deal. Like, everyone's like, this is amazing. Like, it's an amazing deal. Like, it doesn't do some of the stuff that Nvidia can do, which is multi-frame gen, which is kind of a useless feature in my opinion, because multi-frame gen, oh my god, am I gonna do it? I've been thinking about this for fucking weeks because I've been trying to get one of these cards. But multi-frame gen is basically an AI interpolated image that they insert in between your actual rendered frames from the game. So it's kind of like motion smoothing, but
That sounds dumb and bad.
it is really good because you can get really high frame rates. But with the caveat that you do lose some image quality. It's not too bad because it's very good at it, especially when you're playing games with a lot of repetitive motions. It's pretty good at figuring out what's going to be happening. But that already exists. There's already frame gen that exists, but it's one-time frame gen. So they slide one frame in. So you basically double your frame rate. You know, so if you can get like 30, you can get 60. So it's great. Problem is that the lower the base frame rate is that you're doubling, the more lag is introduced. Because if you think about it, doubling a 30 frame per second to 60 is a much bigger chunk of time being doubled than if you had 60 doubling it to 120. It's a much smaller amount of time that's being interpolated, basically. So there's less movement between the frames for it to like guess between. So there's less lag. So it's really like one of those features like, wow, I can get 240 FPS in Cyberpunk and Ultra, except for that it's going to play like shit unless you were already at a really high frame rate to begin with, which you need an expensive card for anyway. So it's like one of those features that like you already need to have it running really well to the point where do you really need the extra frames? Like to me, anything like 60 frames solid, that's pretty fluid. I mean, I have a 144 hertz monitor, so I love to get all the way up to like match, but it has variable refresh rate. So anything above 60 looks great. So I like to hit that, which, you know, you can do. But so it's like a feature that's like, eh. But the other thing is that NVIDIA cards have NVENC, which is a video encoding, which anyone that streams to Twitch or creates YouTube videos or does any sort of video editing is vastly superior to what AMD has. But the AMD cards announced that they've gotten better, and everyone's reviewed them and said they've gotten better. They're like 75% is good now. So it's like, okay, there's not really a reason to stick around. So I don't know. So I was like, you know what? The 9070 launch day happened. I got on my computer, fucking in my underwear, didn't even dress because it's like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern time launch. I'm on my computer, got my stock trackers. I've got like the models that I wanted to buy on different windows and like Newegg and Amazon. I'm just refreshing them, just hitting F5. And the Sapphire 9070 XT that I was looking at never had stock on Amazon, at least for the first like 15 minutes while I was looking around. So I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Asus was selling a 9070 XT on Newegg for $720. So that is $120 more than MSRP. And of course, because this is why they're doing it, because I talked myself into it, because I was like, well, it's $30 cheaper than what I'd be spending on a TI anyway. So as long as it's within the two, between the two, I'm like, it's fine. Like, because they're about the same power level, like, of quality. So I'm like, all right, So I bought it, Newegg charged my credit card, and I was like, oh, thank God. I don't have to think about this anymore, because I've been fucking pouring reviews, reading everything I can about these, like, going on these stock tracker websites, trying to, like, catch them, and, like, finally I have one. 5 minutes later, Newegg emails me, oh yeah, we're canceling your order because there's no stock. Because you charged my credit card already, and you had stock, and I bought it before it was like 9:10, basically. It was within the first 10 minutes of these going on sale. How did you not have stock? And they just canceled it. And apparently they did this to a lot of people. And apparently it's something Newegg likes to do. So don't ever buy anything off Newegg. That's my lesson. I tend to never buy anything on Newegg, but sometimes it's the only place where you can find stuff. So, like for instance, I got my NAS off Newegg. This was $500 for this 4-bay. What is it called? Synology NAS, 4-bay. Amazon never had it on sale from Amazon. It was always third-party sellers for some ridiculous, like $600, like $100. It's just fucking stupid. Newegg had it for $500, which is the MSRP. So that's where I bought that. So yeah, I just got fucked over. So now I've just been kind of like following stock. So there's a website called nowinstock.net. You can set alarms that sounds like a fucking alarm clock going off. And so I just had my computer set at that while I was at work, like working from home. And then I'd hear the alarm on my speakers and then switch over and look at the tabs and see what's available. And usually the 50 series, still impossible to find. If you look at the stock tracker, those MSRP $750 cards. There are multiple vendors that have not had stock since February 21st. Like, they don't exist. A card does not exist. Like, they made these, and then they're only wanting to sell you the ridiculously overpriced versions because that's where they're trying to make their money. And because demand is so high, someone rational like me who wanted the $600 card was like, well, what's $120 extra dollars? But they didn't get me. So now I've resolved myself to only buying MSRP cards, and I still want an XT. I almost bought a $550 what do you call it? 9070, but it was a power color 9070. Does that ring a bell to anyone in the podcast?
Power color?
You guys don't have the grudge that I have. Let me go all the way back to Computergate 2014 or whatever.
Computergate? Oh, jeez.
Power Color was the company that made my graphics card that died. And they're the company that sent me not one, but 2 broken replacement cards. And that RMA process took 3 months. And they no longer had the card that I had wanted in stock. So they sent me a different one that was not really as powerful. It was like a newer version, but the lower edition card. So it was just like this warranty, for like 2 years or whatever it was, like 1 year, 2 year, whatever. Fucking honor it, you assholes. So I was hesitant, and then it sold out. But it was in stock for like 10 full minutes where I was looking around. So it does seem like at least the AMD cards seem to be obtainable. So I'm just going to wait until they're available at the actual price that they're supposed to be sold at. And if tariffs happen, the 10% price increase that's been proposed for Chinese imports, that'll happen. But that should be $660. So I'm like, unless the card is, if it's less than $700, I'll buy it, because that's close enough to whatever price increases are probably going to happen with this fucking nightmare of a president we have, making everything cost more. So anyway, also call it Trump tax. Everyone, I'm saying this, just use that term. It's Trump tax. Anything that's gone up, it's Trump tax.
Yep.
That's it. Just call it what it is. If he wasn't the president, these prices wouldn't be going up.
Correct.
So, like, that's the plain and simple. Sorry. I'm trying to spread that term far and wide. But yeah, so that's been my whole, like, 3 days of just fucking trying to get that. What have you guys been up to this week? Besides not furiously?
I've been trying to figure out what kind of graphics card I have since you started talking. It turns out it's the RTX 2070 Super.
Yeah, it's very old.
And that's like 3 series is behind the ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if I could get like a side-by-side comparison of how ridiculous it is.
So I've got a 3060 Ti. The 2070 Super is very old in terms of like a 5070 Ti, because they don't have a Super, because that's the like half step upgrade when they just like refine the like 70 series into a higher one. I would say you probably would get at least double the frames, if not triple, because there was a huge leap at the 40 series because they switched to a smaller nanometer die so they could fit more transistors on the card. So there was a huge generational leap there, and then that's why the 40 to 50 series jump wasn't very high, because they're using the same process.
It says mine is 13 billion transistors, and the lowest 5050 is like 31 billion.
Yeah.
But I just play games that are like 20 or more years old anyway.
And honestly, I do too, basically. But there's a game that came out that's been taxing my fucking GPU, and that is Monster Hunter Wilds. And I bought it on Steam instead of PS5.
If it's like any other Monster Hunter game, what weapons type setup are you playing with to start?
Yes. So I'm kind of annoyed because Lauren just texted me. People left the intermission because they didn't know what the show was. Oh, she's at a performance of Cabaret. Weird that people would leave in the middle of that one. I guess it kind of ends in a weird spot, and then the second half is whatever. Anyway, so wait, what were we talking about? I got completely sidetracked.
Your
my
Monster
weapon,
Hunter
my
loadout.
weapon.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of mad because so every Monster Hunter, I think, so Monster Hunter World, I think, gives you a longsword at the start, as like, this is the one to try to start. And the one they gave to try to start in this version is the weapon I main. So I'm like, man, there are going to be so many other people with this now. I'm not going to stand out. But it's a great sword. So I've done great sword for a long time.
Yep.
I love the great sword. It's a really slow weapon, but it has a mechanic where you get a hit and then you charge a second hit and then you charge a third hit. And so it's like this really cool timing based like hitting. And
that really hasn't changed since like Tried.
No.
Yeah.
It's
that's where I played Greatsword was on Try.
It's very positional.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much about like planning ahead your attacks, so you're gonna hit. There's a new feature in Monster Hunter Wilds called Focus Mode, where you hold the left trigger, and that allows you to aim like you're aiming a gun. Basically, you have a little reticle in the middle, and so that allows you to aim where your swings are. So you can like aim at certain body parts, and that makes the greatsword a lot easier to use, because if you're like attacking one way and the monster moves, you can shift where your next slash is going to go. So that
That's
actually
nice.
really helps. So it's made it a lot easier. I think it's one of the things they talked about. Not just the greatsword, but like the big hammer does the same kind of thing, and the charged blades kind of the same slow attacks. So so those are that. And I just kind of, it's comfort food to me, like that one, because it has a guard. So you can block attacks with it, and you can do perfect guards with it, which is really satisfying when you time the hits. And that can often cause a stun. So, like, depending on the monster. And if you ever want to see like cool videos, just like look up Monster Hunter World Perfect Guard Greatsword videos of people just absolutely owning these dragons. They're like 10 times their size just by standing in front of them, like perfect blocking every single attack and then doing like a counter attack. Like, so I like that weapon, so I'm sticking with that one, I think. But then in this game allows you to have a secondary weapon that you can switch to, so you can have two weapons.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm doing bow, because I've done bow gun before. I did heavy bow gun before once, which I kind of liked getting into. But bow is a little bit faster, and you like target body parts with like explosive arrows, and you switch between the arrow types. So I don't know if I'm going to get into that, but I just figured like I could have a ranged as well. But I'm going to still main greatsword, I think.
Now, I haven't played a lot since 4, but I think like some of the newer ones had like gauntlets or greaves, whatever they, fist weapons of some sort.
I don't know if that exists in this one. That may have been a Monster Hunter Rise thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're in this.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, but I know there's the dual blades, which is one of the like beginner ones, as his longsword. Longsword's really fun too, because longsword's got that like charge meter that you get. So you build like a big charge meter, and then you can unleash like a super where you like slash up and jump like 10 feet in the air and then slam down on a guy. So that's fun. So there's some fun. I think that's the cool thing about Monster Hunter. There's like 10 plus 12 maybe different weapon types.
Oh, yeah.
And each one plays completely differently. So if you're like stuck in a rut, just switch. Like, I think I was playing longsword in World for a long time, and I got kind of bored of it. And then moving up to greatsword added a little bit more like difficulty and like satisfaction on getting those big hits and connecting, that I think made the game click a lot more for me. I think it just made me focus more on watching what the monsters are doing, because the Monster Hunter is a game where you're a hunter fighting these huge monsters that take like thousands of HP of hits, and you do like 20 or 30, so you're fighting them for a good 10-15 minutes each monster, even longer with some of the bigger ones, but I mean most of them are about like around 10 to 15 minutes. And it's very much like Dark Souls isn't right. It's kind of like that though, where it's a lot more deliberate animation based combat.
Yep.
So it's a lot of positioning, a lot of watching what the boss is doing, but it's different because it's not punishing. Like you get hit, you don't die. You know what I mean? Like those.
That
on
is
the
a
mic
loud
now.
Rodrigo. Yep. It kind of fits in a weird center of the triangle between Dark Souls, Shadow of the Colossus, and Warriors game.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of game feel,
Yeah.
because you don't kind of have the power fantasy of a Warriors game, but you do have like the very leniency of a Warriors game.
Yes, exactly. You have a lot of hit points. So like a monster will hit you, and they call it carding in Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
You call you're carded when you die, because a guy will come out and throw your body on a cart and then take you back to the camp where you'll revive and you go back.
Yep.
So you're called carded. So everyone will be like, yeah, I killed the Diablos, but I got carded twice, so, and you can get carded, I think 3 times before you fail. So, and some of the very high end monsters, they'll still like do crazy amounts of damage, but it's not like a Souls where you're trapped in an arena with them. So if you get really fucked fighting a monster, you can leave.
Just leave.
You can run away, heal, go back to camp, buy a bunch more things. You have an hour every hunt, typically. So you can buy stuff, redo your loadout, get all your potions back. So it is much more, and it's also unlike a Souls, you're able to plan for the battle like way more in advance. So a lot of times you'll face a monster the first time and you'll not know about it. And then and this happens with Monster Hunter, is that when you get to those higher levels, you'll start facing monsters that you aren't prepared for, and then you might lose. But then you see, okay, this is an electric monster, so I want to power up my water weapon because water will do extra. It's just like Pokemon, so like different energies do different things against different monsters. So you'll be like, all right, I got my kit set up for this guy. I got barrel bombs, so you can set up these barrel bombs that when they run into them, it explodes and stuns them. So it's like you have all this huge tool set of things you can do. And that's what's so satisfying about it, is that you just have this huge tool set. And the other thing that's satisfying is Monster Hunter is all about killing monsters, taking their body parts, making new weapons that are better than the old ones to let you fight bigger monsters. That
the
you
gameplay
get their
loop
stuff,
is just so self-satisfying.
And then you get more parts that make you better things that allow you to kill bigger monsters, and it just keeps going up. And it's like so satisfying.
I mean, it's like Dauntless, but with actual depth and no.
Dauntless is based on Monster Hunter.
100%. That's why we called it Monster Puncher when we played it.
I mean, it is, and that was a nice, accessible Monster Hunter that was free to play. I really liked that game. It just is unfortunate that it couldn't live. Although, like, people are like, oh, I can't believe Dauntless is dying. Just like, that game's been out for like 8 years. Like,
yeah,
like it sucks it's going away, for people that were way into it, but like, it had a run. Like, the Monster Hunter World was out as long, and nobody's playing that anymore. They got a new one. Unfortunately, that studio still exists. I think the Dauntless studio got closed, but it just sucks that cool games like that can't survive.
How's the online so far?
Pretty good.
Have you been doing any online? Okay.
Yeah. The game encourages you, and I like playing multiplayer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always put into lobbies, so you always see strangers, but your interaction is a emote wheel. Like, you can't talk to other people, so it's very much, you can't even text chat to other people. So I think you can if you party with people, but if you're just walking around in like the hub world area, you could just see other people and their names.
I mean, there was voice chat in Try back on the Wii, but that's only if you had the Wii Speak.
Well, and I think there's probably voice chat in this, but again, you have to like join a party and like accept a voice chat, and so it's not like on by default like a lot of multiplayer games. So, but the nice thing about like this is that it has true like not asynchronous, but like easy join co-op where you have an SOS flare that you can shoot in the sky in any like monster hunt, and it invites people that are online to join your party, and they just fight it, and they get the same rewards as they would. So I remember in Monster Hunter World, I used to just sit there and look at the SOS request board and just take those, so I'd be joining somebody else's like monster hunt. Because honestly, well, as a greatsword user, it's much nicer to have the monster not constantly trying to kill you when you're trying to line up the super attacks. Which is mitigated to a bit because you have the other awesome part. Matt might be interested in Monster Hunter for this, is the Palico, which is your cat companion that is your like squire basically. And they're running around and they attack, and they can like, you can have them like do distractions, or they'll set up like electrical bombs. You get to customize your cat too, by the way, and they get the best looking armor. Like, you get Palico armor. They each like monster has like a little theme. So My guy looks like a little medieval knight squire now because of the monster armor that I put him in. So, and he's Steve French, named after my cat.
I mean, the Palico as a like a little mini warrior companion that started in World, right?
No. That started in
Okay.
like the PSP games.
Oh, so Freedom.
Yeah, but I don't think that they did as much combat.
That's what I'm saying.
I know
combat
that but
part.
I knew, but they did follow you out into combat, and they would like give you potions, I think. But like now, like you can equip them, and they like are like a second fighter that will often like distract the monster, you know. So, anyway, but I like playing in parties. I like playing in parties, so like I like to do that. It is a risk because I think you can only get carded 3 times, and that is everyone. So sometimes you'll get thrown into a multiplayer group where some guy's a fucking idiot and just gets killed all the time, and then everyone emotes like thumbs down. Because it's like,
Apparently
dude, it's
they can
not
do
hard
something-
to not die in Monster Hunter.
Apparently the Palicos can do a Meowlatov cocktail.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and then in
hilarious.
World, this is something that's really disappointing, like extremely disappointing so far in Wilds. Because in World you had the muscular chef, which was a gigantic muscly cat that would cook for you. And then in Monster Hunter Rise, you had the dango cats, which were, they would make the like Japanese dango, like the mushed rice, like ball, colored rice ball treats that you would get.
Nice.
And so they would do like a whole like animation of them creating food for you. It doesn't seem to exist in Wilds, which is like really disappointing. Maybe I'm just too early in the story. I'm only like 5 hours in. So, and I have maybe I haven't gotten to the final camp setup, but anyway, it's just more of the same. Like it's good. I think people really like it. It looks good. It runs like dog shit. The game is so bad, like so poorly optimized. They're running de novo, anti-cheat, and all this stuff that's like that like even people have said is clearly like bottlenecking performance, and it's just all this shit, and it just sucks, and it's not optimized. And even like people with these like 5090, these $2,000 GPUs are still having performance problems and still having issues with the textures, and it just sucks. Like, and so that's kind of why I want to upgrade, because right now my 3060 Ti I can get 60 pretty good 60 frames with frame, not without frame gen, but with FSR, which is super resolution. So do you guys know what super resolution is? Or DLSS, which is
No.
digital, which is NVIDIA's super resolution. So what that does is it dynamically scales the resolution of the image being like generated. So like let's say you're running the game at 1080p. If stuff gets too intense, it'll start scaling it down to like 720p, and then using AI to upscale it to 1080p. Like when you watch like older content on a new TV where it does the upscaling. So you get some blurring, you know, a little bit, but it's not too bad. And then you can tune it to like, you know, balanced or performance or quality. And so I have mine set on quality, and I'm at medium settings, and I can get 60 pretty good. So it runs okay. It's just you can tell it's not optimized because you still get these like weird stutters and slowdowns. And it's like, this should not be having this. And NVIDIA sucks, and has for a while, because all their older cards, they'd be like 8 gigabytes of VRAM. It's just not enough video like RAM, like GPU dedicated RAM on the card. All the new cards now have 12, but of course that's probably not going to be enough moving forward as we move towards 4K. So at least the cheap like 5090, or sorry, the 9070 has 16 gigs on it still of VRAM, when the bigger one has 16 gigs. But the 5070 only has 12. The 5070 Ti has 16. So it's like just a weird choice to cut that down for NVIDIA, especially when their competitors not doing that. Anyway, it looks bad. It is not a great looking game compared to like World, which just ran. Although like World, just zoom in on some of those textures and it looks like poop. But it ran well. Like this looks bad and doesn't run well. It's kind of like bad. So I'm sure it'll get optimized, because I think World, when it launched, ran like that. But the crazy thing, This thing cannot hit 60 on a PS5 or Xbox Series X. Like it can, you have to put it in quality mode, and it looks like a PlayStation 3 game. It's really bad, and so it's like it's really bad that happened. So the PS5 Pro, it can get 60 at at balance settings. So it's kind of like one of those things that like you get 30 at quality, 40 at balanced, and then 60 at performance presets. And the performance preset looks awful because there's so much super resolution going on where it's like scaling. And the problem is the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, those are consoles that came out in 2020. So they had like their features locked at like 2019, and super resolution didn't really exist then. So they can't do it. The PlayStation 5 Pro added a thing called, I think it's called like PSSS, PlayStation Super Sampling or something, that does like super resolution stuff. But the base ones can't do that, like not to the degree. So it's kind of the first game that's kind of like these consoles are kind of old now. Like this doesn't run very good, and that's kind of like sad. And so I bought it on PC, even though I like to play it on the couch. So I'm kind of in a bad situation. Yeah, so I tried streaming it to my Steam Deck, which can't run it. The Steam Deck cannot run it. It just can't run it. Like you cannot even get 30 frames. So I tried streaming it from my gaming PC to my Steam Deck. That did not work. I don't know what's going on with that game. It's worked for other games, but I was playing and there would be, and I timed it. No shit, 50 seconds of freeze with the audio going, with the video frozen. And I was like, I'm in the middle of a fucking fight right now. This is not. And it would be running fine, like 60 frames, like looking good. And then it would just hitch for like a fucking full minute. And I'm like, oh my God. So I grabbed my gaming PC or my gaming laptop and I plugged that into the TV. And my gaming laptop has a 1370 or a 13700 Intel and a 4060 in it, and that runs, and that ran fine at 60 at like I think about the same settings I have with the 3060 Ti. So I played it on my TV there, but I'd like to be able to stream it to the TV so I don't have to like get my laptop out. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And then I also bought a laptop because I just need more. It's my fourth laptop.
Of course.
My fourth working. No, it's actually technically the fifth working laptop we have in our house. Well, so I went down another John fucking. This is what I do with my free time.
Yeah.
Is I just went down another hole of. So I've been finding the old laptops that we've had since college, and fixing them up basically, and then putting Linux on them because Windows 11 can't run on old hardware, and Windows 10 runs like shit on old hardware and is also losing support soon anyway. So the laptop I found downstairs, my wife's.
My wife.
Thank you.
Sorry. Spanky's more on top of this than I am. I can't do it.
It's her Lenovo like Z590 or whatever from like 2014, I think maybe. I opened that thing up. That bitch motherfucking had Windows 8 with the tiles on it still.
Oh,
and I was like, oh
fuck.
Boy, this looks awful.
I hated Windows 8.
So I went on there, I got her password, and I was like, I'm just going to get this USB stick, pull any important files off of this thing, put them on my NAS. So we just got everything backed up. And I wiped it, and then I put on Mint, and I did what I did every fucking time. It's been like, this runs like shit. Oh yeah, it's got a spinning disk. And I went on Amazon and bought a 512 SATA SSD for like $30. I'm like, I'm just going to put this in here. And it runs. And it actually has I think it's an i5, like third gen i5 with 8 gigs of RAM. So it runs pretty well with Linux Mint, which is the distro I chose. But it's a fucking beast. It's a 15-inch laptop. It's got a TN panel, so you basically have to be staring directly at it, or else it looks awful. No anti-glare coating, so it is like a fucking just reflection magnet. Its battery didn't work. So I bought a replacement battery off Amazon for $15. That was fine. It works now. But it has a disk drive in it. So that's like a plus of it being, but it's fucking like 6 pounds. It's just a monster of a laptop. So I'm like, so I did the same thing like months previous on an old HP EliteBook that I had that I bought in 2010. And I put Linux Mint on that. I upgraded it from 4 to 8 gigs of RAM because it's a business laptop. It's fully upgradable. So you can open it up and replace everything but the CPU, which is nice. So I upgraded the RAM, upgraded the SSD. I should probably need to repaste it because it runs super hot. I think I need to take the CPU fans off and put new thermal paste on it. But anyway, so I did that, spent probably like $60 on that one as well, upgrading that because I bought another RAM stick and another SSD. So I'm addicted now. And so I've been looking at old ThinkPads. And, and so I found, I was just kind of cruising eBay because I was sad that I couldn't buy any graphics cards. It was like, I want a new tech toy. I had like that money pre-budgeted. So I was like, what can I get? Thankfully, ThinkPads are not $700. ThinkPad T480s are about $150, give or take. And so I was like, $150, that's not that much. Like, it's going to be infinitely better than the shitty laptops that I have that have Mint on them. Like, I have my gaming laptop, but I want like something that is like not 6 pounds, which my gaming laptop is. And these, and so I got a T480S, which is the S stands for soldered, is what people will say. So it has the RAM, one stick is soldered in, and one stick is you can replace. So, which is fine. Like I'm never going to need more than 24 gigs of RAM, which is the highest it can go because you can put a 16 stick in and it has 8 soldered on. Like, there's no way I'm going to need more than that on this old laptop. Like, this doesn't have a GPU in it, so it's not going to like blast through gaming. It has an 8th gen i7. So it's pretty snappy. It's from 2018. So it's not ancient. And it can still play games. Like, it can still game, like just stuff that you can run on the iGPU. So like games from like 2012 and earlier. Like
emulator shit and play multi-worlds with it.
2D games. So if I want to play games, but I just want something light and portable that I could carry around and not look like a weirdo. Like, because I thought of this when I was at my writing thing I did when I wrote for the Ball Droplets. And I go there and I pull out my fucking gamer laptop with all the fucking RGB on it. I'm like, it reminded me of, I don't know if you remember this from like one of the Trump trials, like post January 6th. No, it was one of the election fraud trials, but the fucking attorney had like a fucking gaming laptop on their fucking, and I was like, oh, I need something more presentable. And so it's like the last generation of ThinkPads that are like fully serviceable. And the other thing too is the T480S has fully internal battery, whereas the T480, which is like the slightly bigger version, has a battery that you can replace on the back and an internal battery. So you have much more like upgradability in terms of battery, and you can get a bigger battery. So those are a little bit like, that's truly fully serviceable, whereas the S is a little bit less, but it is also thinner and lighter. So like, I was like, this is what I'm going for. I want thin and light. The reason I bought the one I bought, and I wasn't even looking because I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I got these old laptops. I don't need another one. I got my gamer laptop. I know it's embarrassing to pull that out of Starbucks, but it was $140, and it had the 1440p screen, which is the nicest one you can get. And it was an i7, and I was like, oh, this is like all the specs that I want, except for the SSD is only 256. But I bought a 1 terabyte SSD that's coming in the mail. Like, again, you just pop open the bottom, slot in a new one, super easy. You can replace everything, except for the 1 stick of RAM. So it's like the same, but just, it's a little bit less. And so I'm excited. And I'm going to put Linux on it. So I'm excited. I don't know what distro I'm going to put on. Spanky's not here to talk about Linux with me. But it's okay.
I mean, I want to get into some Linux stuff, but
you should.
Right now,
it's super awesome. I know. Like, if you have an old laptop that's shitty, get Linux Mint. and you could probably run Cinnamon on it as long as you got 4 gigs of RAM. If you don't, they have one that runs on 2 gigs of RAM. And boy, does that Windows bloat slow old computers down. Like, when you get a light OS on that thing, like that 2010 laptop fucking sings, other than the fact that it gets hot as hell. And it can play video games. I was playing, what was I playing on there? I was playing on, the Shadowrun games that came out recently. They're like 2D isometric.
Okay.
They're light 3D. Anyway, those came out in like 2010, and that runs fine on the iGPU on that thing. Like, you can still play a pretty decent amount of games, and Steam is super good at supporting Linux. So, like, there's tons of games on Steam that install on Linux. So, it's really cool. Plus, also, Linux is really good now, especially Mint, which is the distro I have, is like super user friendly, and it looks exactly like Windows 95. Like, well, but not like the old aesthetic, but like the layout. You got the Windows bar, you got the so it like it just feels like
super
home.
Simple, super tight. Yeah.
So I like that. I think I'm gonna go for something more fun on my ThinkPad. I think I'm gonna go with Fedora. That's what I need to talk to Spanky about, because everyone's talking about that one being the new hotness. Mint is like the beginner, and now that I've messed around with Linux a bunch, I kind of want to go to like a little bit more feature rich, because like I think the good way to explain it with like Linux Mint is like the stable version, so it updates much slower, and so like new features that are open sourced into Linux that come down the pipeline, you might have to wait a few months to get those, but the nice thing about it is they're fixed by that point, so you're only getting super stable updates, so it works really well. Like, and I've really liked it. But I kind of want to try something new, try out some new fancy stuff. I'll have a much faster computer, so it should be able to run some more difficult stuff. So I'm just excited to have a laptop that isn't an eyesore. And it was only $150 with tax, plus 50, so that's $200. So, okay, because I bought an SSD to put in it, so it's like $200, but still. I don't think you can get a laptop for that cheap. It's crazy how like, I'm just saying this to anyone. If you need a new laptop, buy a ThinkPad off eBay.
Yes.
My God.
Yeah. Companies just swap through them. Yeah.
Because you go to like Costco or Best Buy and you look at their $400, $500 laptop, it's like the same specs as the $250 laptop on eBay, because you can get like a ThinkPad. They went from like $480, because they did like $430, $450, all the way up to $490 even. They now call them T14, so for ThinkPad 14-inch, and there's an X14, which is the X1, which is like the even sleeker and like more expensive version one. So like a T14, your base one. Like, there's Gen 1, Gen 2, I think they're at Gen 5 now, but like a Gen 3, so like a 12 series, which is the same CPU I have in my desktop. I mean, it's the normal version, but those are like $350.
Yep.
And they come with like 16 gigs of RAM, like a terabyte, and then you go on like, fucking Costco, and you look at their HP laptop, and you get like, I can get like an i3, with a 14th gen i3 with a 1 terabyte hard drive and 16 gigs of RAM. It's like, oh my God, you get the same exact shit, if not a little better, for $250 cheaper on eBay. So I love old ThinkPads, so I'm kind of addicted. I've become addicted to installing Linux on everything. So that's my latest thing.
So something tells me that that thing could play Phantasy Star Online.
Oh, it definitely could. It definitely could. Like,
although actually, even if it doesn't play the standard like PC build,
I don't know if it would if I put Linux on it. Well, I could do it through Wine. It probably would work.
Yeah, exactly. But even if it doesn't, it could run Dolphin, because I think there's a Dolphin that works on Linux. And
definitely, Linux has every emulator you can think of.
The GameCube version of Phantasy Star Online and Dolphin with its online features, there's a server for that, so you can play that.
Cool.
I did that on my Wii. I just tried it out just to see. And the
you have the
SCHT server. Yeah.
You have a modded Wii, right?
I've modded Wii. Yeah,
I almost bought a Wii too to mod one.
they're so
They're
cheap.
so cheap. They're like $80.
They're even cheaper if you import them from Japan because they have millions.
Yeah.
They're just sitting.
Yeah. I almost bought a Super Famicom as well. Like
Yeah, you were talking about
my
that.
retail therapy is like.
Yeah, you don't need a Super Famicom.
I don't.
You don't need one.
don't. I can play. Well, the even more like with that is that ROMs exist for one, and two, I could just get like an EverDrive for my Super Nintendo if I wanted original hardware, and then just play Japanese games off that.
Exactly.
Because here's the awesome part about Japan, NTSC. So everything that they have runs perfectly fine on every single thing we have. So they ran.
By the end of 2028, your house is just going to be full of old computers and old gaming systems.
I know. It's just the shit that you buy. I don't know, man. I don't need this shit. I do need this shit because I like fiddling. It's like a hobby, but
fiddling's fun, yeah.
But like I don't know, the old
Fiddling
laptops I have just suck. Like if they were thin and light and portable, I wouldn't do this. But I want something I can type on that doesn't look like fucking red gamer lasers coming out of the back of it, like my laptop does. But it is nice that my gaming laptop, and the other reason I bought it too is that the other gaming laptop that we have, that Lauren uses as her laptop, is
her
from
Sims box. Yep.
Yeah, her Sims box. But I mean, that I think we bought in 2018, so that's starting to feel really old compared to that. So I'm like, eventually that's gonna break, and then she's gonna want my gaming laptop, and then I can just use this. It's just future upgrades because things are the economy's going to shit. So buy stuff now because it's all going to cost.
Or plan not to.
Or plan not to.
Exactly.
For
a long time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like why I was like rushing to get a graphics card. But like I said at this point, they fucked me over. I'm still bitter. I'm just gonna wait. My 3060 Ti works just fine, and I bet there'll be Black Friday sales on the cards they couldn't sell because people were buying them like crazy. And they're gonna build stock up, and these will probably cost the same they cost now, when they're at sale prices. So, or they'll come bundled with a game that is coming out in the fall that I want. You know what I mean? Like right now, the Nvidia cards, or I think it's the Nvidia cards come with Monster Hunter Wilds. And I'm like, well, I just bought that, so
yeah,
I don't need that one. So. Yeah. Anyway.
So let me take 10 minutes. Yeah, let me take 10 minutes.
Thank
just
you.
gonna do a quick Final Fantasy update, not just with 8, but
so let me just interrupt TJ because I have to do that for one. But I want to intro. You've been explain what the Final Fantasy. What is your Final Fantasy journey, right?
So
you started at 1.
That's actually where I was going to.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you
today.
didn't miss that part. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Probably back at the beginning of 2022, John and I both started like kind of getting into a Final Fantasy kick, and like I kind of want to play the old ones and start going through them one by one by one. I think he was playing. Which version were you playing?
The Game Boy Advance one.
Or you playing the Game Boy Advance version, and I was starting, I think, on Origins, but then I switched to the Game Boy Advance version because I still have my physical cartridge. I don't need a ROM for that one.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't use a ROM, obviously. I wouldn't pirate.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have pirated it. Of course not.
Actually, I think I do have the actual cartridge for that.
Yeah.
So the one I played on my computer was dumped from that cartridge, definitely.
Of course. I mean, and I actually still have my PS1 disc and my digital legally purchased PS1 file. That's not a joke. I actually did purchase that one on my PSP, which plays on my PS3, plays on my Vita, whatever. But anyway, we started and we wanted to kind of go through the old Final Fantasies, and when the Pixel remasters came out for Steam, I got them almost right away and didn't touch them. I just didn't touch them. And then they came out on Switch.
I bought the Pixel remasters. I think they had their like Golden Week sale or something last fall, and they were, I think it was like $30 for like 1 through 6, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying this. It was half off.
Oh yeah, 100%. And they just had an update recently too.
Really?
Those boost things that were added to the console versions, those are now natively in the
oh, nice.
or at least in some of them. I know they added the job point one for Final Fantasy 3.
I need to. I think I need to just start playing through them. I want to do what you did. I want to
the
get
pixel remasters are the better ways
I was
to
about
do
to say,
it.
I've got on my Steam Deck. I think I'm just going to start playing 1 on my Steam Deck and then just work my way up.
With 1 and 2 and then 3, I was actually trying to do an honest experience, do it at the regular thing. The only thing that kind of helped me speed up the process was turning on auto battle. Just going in battle, and I already know that this person's going to hit, this person's going to hit, this person's going to cure, this person's going to hit. And I just hit that every time, and it also speeds up the battle by about 75%.
So do they have the like experience booster stuff too? Or
they
no?
do.
Oh, okay. I'll probably do that at least for the first one.
And if they don't have it on Steam, I know the mods exist.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I can go on Workshop probably and download the mod. But like,
yeah.
At least for the
console
first
versions
one,
have natively.
At least for the first one, I want to do that because I already played like a good like 6 hours, 7 hours of it. So I'm like, I think I just want to at least just fly through that one and then get onto the second one, which I've never touched before.
Because I think you got as far. I remember where we stopped. I think we stopped. We got like to Elfheim, and we went to like the cave, and then there was shortly after that was the battle in the castle, and you didn't get there yet against the Lich.
Yes, correct. No, I did fight the Lich, but that's about the end. Yeah,
that's about where you stopped. Because that's where things start. That's where things start heating up in the game. So the game definitely ramps up from there. But so. I kind of starting at the beginning of maybe it was 2023, maybe it was beginning of 2024, but I'm like, I actually put time. I finished 1. I then finished 2 and then 3. It took me a little longer on 4, 5, and 6 because they're longer games and I would get distracted. I'd have stuff to do. I would do whatever, but I finished 6 about, was it beginning of this year? I think we talked about me finishing 6. So that's all the pixel remasters. And then after that, I'm kind of splitting my time. I have a child here who wanted to play Final Fantasy VII. So we are playing through that game together. Me on the Switch and her on the PC version. Though we did do some quality of life mods on there to show the button prompts on there instead of the bullshit shit. And we found one that does the speed up. So
yeah, the Steam version is very moddable.
But the
console has it all built in, which is nice.
Yeah, console has it all built in, or at least just the 3 things that they give you.
Maybe I should get. Maybe I should get what's the one that's still on the Steam Deck, the Switch emulator.
Yuzu?
No, that's the one that I think there's another one. I think there's another one, but maybe I should just get that and then play the Final Fantasy VII Switch version on my Steam Deck because it has all the stuff built in. I mean, I don't feel that like the Switch piracy stuff. I do feel like that was. I mean, I guess it's so difficult because like for me, piracy on like a console that's releasing current games is kind of shitty, you know, because you should be buying those. But like I have every Switch game like. Let me play it on my Steam Deck because it runs better than the Switch does. Like
exactly.
Anyway,
but I mean, if we're talking about 7, 8, and 9, the console versions, you could do that on your Xbox Series or your PS5 too.
Well, I'd have to buy them again.
True.
You know, I already own it on Steam and on Switch, and it's like I don't want to buy it again.
No, I get that.
Actually, I think I already own it on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
because it was PS4.
It was PS4.
Yes, I bought the PS4 because Steam will just be like, you know what, or you know, PSN will be like, you know what, you want to play Final Fantasy VII? It's on sale for $5. I'm like, what's $5?
Yeah,
to own it digitally, and so I bought it.
Currently on Steam, there are 2 versions of Final Fantasy 3, 2 versions of Final Fantasy 4. I don't know if they delisted the mobile ports of 5 and 6, but those were on there. I actually think there were the Final Fantasy Anniversary Edition of 1 and 2 were on there as well. There are 2 versions of Final Fantasy 8. The original PC version with the Chocobo World little add-on, and then the remaster version, which is just kind of different, better.
Yes, there's Final Fantasy 3. And
then 3 3D.
3 3D remake, Final Fantasy 4 3D remake.
Yeah, the 3D remakes are based off of the DS versions.
Yes, which were a fun version.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I played a bunch of 3 on the DS.
Yep.
It doesn't look as good now when you're playing it on a big screen
No.
as like the pixel remasters do. But on the DS, it was really fun.
Oh, it definitely was. So my update on 7. Since the last time we discussed it, which was I spent 2 seconds discussing it, we have now gone from the Chocobo stable to I believe the city is Junon.
This is usually about when I stop playing.
Yeah, it's usually when you stop playing. It's right before the boat, before you get to the second continent. But we've done half of the stuff in Junon. We hear the parade above, upstairs, in the upper level.
Is that
and
like
then we went
is that like the thing where you're
Yes.
okay, yeah.
Yep.
That's about
it's
as
the one
far as I get every time.
But we skipped. I had her intentionally skip Fort Condor because I did not want to deal with that shit right now.
I don't remember Fort Condor.
Fort Condor's the RTS minigame.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
not that bad.
It's better when you have more money though, because you spend your money to buy the troops.
Oh, you're right. No,
So-
I don't do that at that point either. Yeah. I was thinking of Final Fantasy VI, the little RTS mini game in that with the Moogles.
Oh yeah. We did pre-crossing the ocean pick up our 6th party member, the optional Yuffie.
Yeah.
Because she's just available in any forest.
Yeah, you just have
Period.
to run through a forest and encounter her, and then you just beat her, right? And then she joins you.
You beat her, and then you have to answer her questions right.
Yeah.
Which
not
is
hard.
usually being aloof, but also saying, "Oh yeah, you were so strong."
Yeah.
But my Final Fantasy VIII journey.
Yes.
When people talk about Final Fantasy VIII, they talk about it in terms of which disc you're on, because the original game was a 4-disc game. But even in the remastered version, your save file still tells you which disc you're on,
So Final
even though
Fantasy,
you're not switching discs.
Final Fantasy VIII is the Kingdom Hearts of Final Fantasy.
Oh,
It
yeah,
really
100%.
is. Like it is the most Numera. Like
Oh yeah.
like peak Numera. But he did 10, right, as well?
See, Nomura's been doing character design for the longest time. I don't know if he did
Who's the
anything
who's
with
the
the
director of 8? Was it? It's okay, I'll look it up. You
think
talk
so.
you talk
Yeah.
about your experience.
So, I'm now getting to what I call the pre-final disc. Hey, did I get everything? Part of any Final Fantasy game.
Yes.
It's
Katase. Yoshinori Katase.
Yeah. It's Katase. Yeah, that's
who
what I thought.
did 6,
He
7,
did 6, 7, and 9.
and
he did
8.
8?
He did not do 9.
Oh, he didn't do 9. Okay.
Correct, and he did 10.
Okay.
And then he was producer on Kingdom Hearts.
So in a Final Fantasy game, there is always some point where it's like the point of no return. And usually at that point, you're like, well, I don't have the most powerful weapon. I don't have this. I don't have that. And then you go back and do all the stupid side games to do everything. I am almost to that point. I'm not going to spoil too much, but all the monsters in the world have now just changed in Final Fantasy VIII. And, well, I haven't gotten my 6th party member back, but I could. But right now I just went to the secret research base and got the Bahamut summon, because I can do that now. I have the flying ship that lets me go anywhere. And because I can go anywhere, I kind of want to go everywhere. But otherwise, I've been going through the game, I think, faster than I have in the past. This is the farthest I've ever been since when me and my buddy were playing it in high school. Because
That's
usually
my experience with 8, is watching Adam play it in high school.
Yep.
So.
Was he missing a disc at some point?
No.
Some point later?
He got to disc 3, and disc 3 didn't work.
Oh, yep. And 3 is where it really kind of pulls the Kingdom Hearts bullshit.
Well,
Quite
I'm
a
just
bit.
saying it's very like it's very out there in terms of
It
like,
is.
story
Definitely
and
is.
everything. Whereas like
Um,
well, 7's not really traditional fantasy, but much more sci-fi. Like,
Yeah.
And then 9 is very traditional.
9 is a return.
fantasy.
It's a return
ish.
Yeah.
Well, although it's fighting and killing God, that's pretty much a Final Fantasy tradition.
That's every
so,
Final Fantasy.
So
That's every Final Fantasy.
So I guess
It's just
it is very real. No, isn't spoilers for 9? But 9's the one where there's like aliens right at the end, like.
Oh yeah, like halfway through. Beginning of disc 3, you learn
it's like
of,
right at the end. You're like you like find aliens that live inside the planet or something. I don't know. It's like a weird. It goes crazy.
You're kind of like a dual planet system instead of having a planet and a moon.
Oh yeah,
and these other entities from this other planet like don't have souls, so they're like
honestly, Final Fantasy
husks.
9 is very very Kingdom Hearts coded.
I know.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh fuck.
Memoria.
But no, the journey has been I got to Memoria. That's as far as I've ever gotten to 9. I've never beat it.
Yeah,
so,
I've never gotten to that disc. I think I've played like the first 2 discs.
But I would have to
a great
say that
game.
I am super excited to get back into 9 because of one thing and one thing only, and that is Chocobo Hot and Cold.
What's that?
Chocobo Hot and Cold is the mini game where you're in a little like chocobo zone, and you dig for treasure.
And they tell you you're hot or cold where you're digging.
Yep. Based off of how excited the chocobo is when it hits his head on the ground.
They always got to have a chocobo mini game. That's like kind of a fun thing too, because like people were talking about like Final Fantasy Rebirth or whatever having like all of the fucking insane shit in it. I'm like, that's a Final Fantasy tradition.
That's
like
a
7
Fantasy
had an
tradition.
RTS in it. It had gambling games. It had a snowboarding mini game. Like,
oh yeah,
this is par for the course.
Now, because I'm trying to keep this one as spoiler free as possible, I can't have her listen to. We listen to some Brental Floss songs sometimes, and he's got a Final Fantasy VII with lyrics, and it spoils a lot of shit, and I can't let her listen to it, even though the best part of the song is talking about how everything in the game is mini games. Because we just did a CPR mini game.
When does Aerith die?
End of disc 1.
You haven't gotten that far yet, or you have?
No.
That's the farthest I've ever gotten in that game, by the way.
And
end
of disc,
because I believe the start of disc 2 is like my girlfriend just died. Let's snowboard. Right? Isn't the snowboarding minigame pretty early on in that? Because that's the last thing I remember playing.
Well, there's only three discs in that one.
Yeah.
And third disc is basically the trip to the final boss.
Yes, the third disc is just the end of the game.
Yep. Which is why, people were like, well, how come when they're splitting up this remake, why did the remake end way before the end of disc 1? And well, it's because there's like nothing on disc 3, so they have to split it in a way that's meaningful. And they really they really packed in how much stuff was in Midgar.
Yeah.
Shit.
Sorry, you're spoiler. You're trying to be spoiler averse with your daughter.
I was trying to be spoiler free, but
with your kid.
She's been seeing a bunch of. No, it's daughter. Okay. It's the middle kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't want to. I didn't want to assume. I should have known daughter because of the glass that you're drinking out of.
Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah. You guys were making a comment. You guys were making a comment pre.
Yeah. Well, what you're drinking.
Pre-podcast. Yeah. So last podcast, I made myself an amaretto sweet because the Aldi didn't have a squirt. But I didn't mix it. So it was like all sweet at the top, and then it was like almost entirely straight amaretto at the bottom.
I see.
So I had to make sure to stir it this time.
Got it.
But I'm really excited for the question in this Final Fantasy journey. I mean, I asked Spanky whether after 7 I should be playing Tactics.
No.
But I kind of want to get through the numbered ones.
Do not play through Tactics. I love that game, but it is so long.
I have the PSP version on my Vita, but specifically patched with the speed up.
Okay.
I mean, with the removal of the slowdown.
Got it.
Because the PSP version was like everything would slow. You do a magic spell and it would be 3 times as long as it was on the PS1.
Yeah.
But the question is, I've beaten 10 twice.
Are
Do
you
I
gonna
need to
skip
play
10?
10 again?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
If you've beaten it, I don't think so. Especially twice.
I mean,
That's
and I've
the
beaten
only Final Fantasy game I've beaten that I can think of.
I've beaten it on the Switch.
Yeah.
That was my second
Yeah.
playthrough. So I
when
I
I'm
have a
going
nearly master file.
Yeah, when I'm
on
going
there.
through this, I definitely will be playing 10 again because I
Yep.
beat it on PlayStation 2. So it was a long time ago.
If you're gonna do 10-2 after that,
Obviously.
please let me know. I want to watch you play it.
Okay. That's an awesome game.
I love 10-2. I love 10-2. Now, all of the packages that come with 10 and 10-2 together have
Yep.
a third game in it.
Which is
Final Fantasy 10-2 Last Mission.
okay.
Have you played a mystery dungeon game?
Yes, I have. Sheer the Wanderer.
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy 10-2 Mystery Dungeon.
Oh. Weird.
It takes place as a sequel, I think 4 months after the end of 10-2. The entire game is Mystery Dungeon, so it's just like Azure Dreams. It's just
So,
like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
On Steam, I have Final Fantasy 1 through 9. So I have 7, 8 remaster, and 9. And then I have the 10, 2 HD remaster.
Yes.
So I'm good 1 through 10. Final Fantasy 11, you gonna play that?
I mean, technically I have the Steam version, even though it doesn't exist, but...
it does exist. You can still play
Yeah.
it. There people have done... Actually, I think the paid server still exists.
Does it?
Yes, I
But
looked this
do you
up.
still-
You can still pay Square
K-
to play on that. I believe
gonna
there
pl-
are also fan
if-
servers that exist.
If I do it, I'm going to do it on a fan server. Specifically, I hope one's got boosted XP.
I've heard that
um,
Final Fantasy 11's pretty good as a game.
Yeah, I've heard... I played a little bit of it, but a little bit of it during the time where they wanted everyone to get to level 30, because then you can get to this special area in one of the expansions that just helps you power level. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of experience some of the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
I loved it. I loved 11.
Yeah.
I liked 14 better. I just didn't get as far.
So
Um,
I'll definitely be playing 14 though.
Yeah.
If and when I get to that a decade from now, because
There's so
14
much-
story is very good.
there's so much fucking story in 14.
Yeah.
You could play 14 essentially single player.
Mhm. Yep. That's one of the
And I
nice
think-
things about it.
I think you can, if you set up a free style account as opposed to
Yeah.
having a paid account and letting it lapse. You can't do the free one with that, which is bullshit.
I know.
But you can play through, I think, through the base game and 2 expansions now.
Yeah. Without paying.
For free without paying. It's just you can't like join parties, and you can't but I mean, there's AI parties for the dungeons you have to do in the story, so
Yep.
it's good enough.
That's the thing World of Warcraft introduced in the newest expansion.
How is that?
AI dungeons? I've
How is
done
the
it.
AI dungeons?
I just
Okay.
don't bother, I guess. I don't know, because I don't... They're called follower
Yeah.
dungeons. I don't bother because, like, if I want to run a dungeon, you can just use the dungeon finder and find a group, and...
I loved Dungeon Finder and Kata and Dungeon Finder. I just played so much content in
Yeah.
that.
It was awesome. That's how I learned how to tank. Because I just was level... Because you could level through dungeons in World of Warcraft
yeah.
and Kata, so I was just like, I'll just learn how to tank by
That's
doing dungeons.
that's how I learned to heal parties well, was
Mhm.
doing dungeons.
But, so, yeah, I definitely would play 14, and then...
I have the 13 trilogy. I have all 3.
I do not. I actually have
I have
them on Xbox, but...
I have them on Xbox, which play on Series.
Oh, you're right. Duh. I just gotta
Yeah.
get my discs. That's why
So
I
get your
bought it.
discs and
That's
put 'em in.
why I bought a Series X, because I was like, oh, a good 90% of my Xbox games I own will work on this thing. Like
Yep.
Rock Band 4, or sorry, like when I bought the PDP Riftmaster,
Yep.
which I got working on
Nice.
Clone Hero recently. It is not plug and play, by the way, on Clone Hero.
It's not easy for Clone Hero?
No,
Okay.
it isn't. It's not difficult, but you have to go on GitHub and download a file that somebody made that they're no longer updating that makes it think that this is an Xbox controller.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know
And
what you're talking about.
then Clone Hero, and then you have to run X Mapper and then Clone Hero, then we'll see that as an Xbox 360 guitar. So it works, but it isn't as simple as my Xbox 360 guitar with the 360 dongle, like
which
just
I
works.
think I have 2 programs to let my like Wii controller work on it.
It's the same as like a Wii controller working on it. You just have to use a thing that like remaps everything, but you don't have to do anything because it already like knows where all the buttons are. So you literally just have to. So to play Clone Hero with my PDP Riffmaster, I have to just turn the Riffmaster on, open program A, open program B, and then run Clone Hero, and it just works. Like all the buttons are mapped. The only problem is that the whammy bar is constantly moving, and I need to figure out how to fix that because sustained notes sound awful. With that.
So you almost need to increase the dead zone, but I don't know which program you'd have to do that.
I was looking online, and it sounds like the PDP Riffmaster, when it gets put in through that X input mapper, has whammy bar up and down both set at the same time. So no matter what position it's in, it's always going up or down because it thinks it needs to go to the other one. I might just turn whammy bar off because honestly, you don't need it.
No,
that's another thing. like the whammy bar is kind of like, it doesn't really count. I'm not really like counting score, and I just don't want the songs to sound weird. So. But to back to the Xbox is that it just imported all of the stuff that I bought at Xbox 360. So I have like 400 songs on my Xbox Series X, and you can still buy them. And I went through and bought. I think I had some Xbox bucks or whatever from Game Pass or from getting the achievements. I think I had like a $5 gift card, so I bought like a few songs that I didn't have, and then there's a couple free packs to download. So yeah, it's kind of cool that all that stuff still works. And then the Riffmaster works directly with Fortnite automatically.
Yes. Yep.
That one it connects to automatically, but.
And then Final Fantasy 12. I'm definitely going to do that. I have a copy of the Zodiac Age for PS4 that I won at a GameStop conference.
Nice. That's a great game. It's a good version too because it has the speed up.
Yeah. 12 has speed up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speed up for once you're in battle and everyone's...
No, it has speed up when you're running around.
Oh, okay.
So you can just zip through the towns, which is really nice when you're trying to like do all the quests and like go out in the field and do all the
Rabanastre is already big as it is, but yeah. I haven't played that game in forever.
It's a very good game. I got my
Steelbook.
I don't love it.
It's not the best.
The story's great. The graphics are great. But I don't love the combat gambit system. It's too annoying.
The main character is not the main character.
Yes.
That's the only part I don't like about the story.
That's also
main
true.
character and main character's love interest are basically like
side characters.
Observers that happen to be part of these.
Well, there are R2-D2 and C-3PO in the Star Wars.
Yeah,
that is
there
the
are
game.
two. That is the game, and that's fine because this is the third Star Wars game that Final Fantasy has.
Yeah.
Because so is 5 and so is 2.
I haven't done 2.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever played 5 either, to be honest. Yeah, because that one didn't come to America, right?
5 did not come to America
until 4 and 6 that came.
Yeah,
it was 2 and 3.
5 came to America as part of the Final Fantasy Chronicles collection, which had 5 and 6.
Yeah, so I've never played 5 at all. I played 4 and I played 6.
5 starts so fucking slow. I hate the beginning of 5, but once it picks up, you are invested. Yeah. You're absolutely invested. But I can say that with almost every single fucking Final Fantasy game. It's the first 10 hours of the game is so much of a slog that I'd rather chop off my dick.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a lot of Final Fantasy games, especially the older ones, because like it's so much like setting up all of the characters and locations, and then the story starts happening.
Yeah, because you're trying to set up an ensemble, starting from learning one person, learning their motivations, finding other connections. 6 does it better.
Yeah,
I think
6 does it very well.
6 does it very well.
Yeah.
And I didn't really realize that because I only got to the first Ultros fight anytime I've played it in the past, which is nowhere in the game.
Yeah.
It's
and you get to suplex a train.
Get the which I did. I made sure to
Nice,
do it.
nice.
I made sure to suplex
There's
the train.
just for Matt, I don't know if you're into speed running culture, but that's always a thing they do at GDQ. But in 6, you have a character who's he does like wrestling moves and he can do suplexes. And there's one fight where you're like attacking a train and you can have him suplex the train and it animates him picking the train up and suplexing it.
Flipping it upside.
It's really funny.
You are not actually battling a train that's sitting there.
Yeah.
The train is driving, trying to run you over. It's the train that's bringing souls to the hereafter, and it is chasing 3 of you down.
Yeah.
Depending if you have the other character.
Mm-hmm.
But it's chasing 3 of you down, and one of your attacks, you can suplex the train, which is still driving.
Yeah.
It flies up, it's upside down as you slam it, and then you're still...
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's because it's like an animation that used for every monster, but this monster's a train, so it looks really stupid, but fun.
Yeah. I think that was intentional.
Yeah,
I think
probably,
it was intent. Like, they put that train battle, having you chase after it, because of the suplex mechanic. Because they thought it was stupid.
All right, well, Matt, what are you doing these days?
I definitely want to hear.
Nothing too exciting.
No.
I've been studying some electronics stuff, but that's maybe not the most interesting thing to talk about.
Oh, I love electronics.
We've both Buicked this entire episode.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
What do you mean by like electronics?
Just like getting into like how like the various circuit components work and stuff, and trying to design my own circuits.
Nice.
Actually trying to I've
Do you have like a
copied
breadboard?
like effect circuits and stuff
Okay.
before, but I'm trying to actually know what I'm doing now.
Oh, okay. That's
which
cool.
is
That's cool.
That's a fun hobby.
Yeah. So I've been trying to build a hot wire cutter for cutting through foam.
Oh yeah.
And just really digging into how to like manage voltage and amperage in the circuit and how to like convert to different voltages and stuff. Do you guys know batteries have resistances? I didn't know batteries had internal resistances, and it threw off all my math until I figured out what the hell is going on.
I didn't think of that.
Unfortunately, everything has a resistance.
Well, that's funny because when you think about a battery, like as a person, you think about, oh, it's just where the power comes from. It's like, no, everything goes through the battery, so it's part of the circuit.
And
so
it's
yes,
like
it counts.
If you have a circuit that's designed by a professional, then they'll account for like fluctuations in the battery and the resistance and stuff. But when I'm doing it, I don't. Until now I do, because I know it's a thing.
All right, so I'm the math guy, and I'm not the science guy. As much as I, like science, enjoy it, and whatnot. Here's the thing that's bugged the fuck out of me. Batteries in series. How does touching the anode, I mean, the positive to the negative end, how does that cause a double potential difference? Shouldn't electrons just go in the one from one battery to the other?
Voltage isn't even a real thing. It's just you can measure it, but it's not really a real thing. It's just a product of current and resistance.
Voltage is just the hill. It's just one side is the hill up top and one side is the hill at the bottom. It's that difference. It's just talking about how much potential energy difference there is. But how does
voltage
two things that this is supposed to give off electrons and this is supposed to take electrons, how does touching them together not just discharge those electrons?
Fucked me up was if you put like an LED that uses a certain amount of current, if you put 2 of those in parallel, they'll use twice the current. But if you put 2 batteries in parallel, they don't supply twice the current. They supply the same amount of current. You just have twice the capacity.
Yeah.
So it'll last twice as long.
This is magic.
Power.
Electricity to me is just magic. Yeah. I don't mess with it. It doesn't mess with me.
I understand magnets more than I understand electricity, and they're the same fucking phenomenon. They're the same thing. One causes the other. The other causes the one.
One in my power, because I'm not getting the current I want out of batteries because they have like limits. The next step is to take like a 9-volt battery and step the voltage down to either 3 or 6 volts, and then I'll be able to get more current out of that. And part of the way that works is you have the current routing through an inductor, making a magnetic field, reacting with a piece of iron or whatever, and that push-pull helps to regulate the current. So you're using magnets to do it.
How does DC induct? DC isn't supposed to induct a magnetic field.
To me,
Yeah,
I
you
know a
just have
9-volt
it running through a coil.
I know a 9-volt battery is you touch it with your tongue,
Yeah.
and it goes and it feels weird. That's what I know about 9-volt.
Oh,
And also,
yeah.
And
how
also, Marvel is better
electricity
than DC.
how electricity actually moves down a wire isn't like the
Oh,
way that it's
yeah.
taught and how it's modeled and stuff
I mean,
is useful, but it's
Now that-
actually just surfing on individual magnetic waves.
see, now that I'm starting to think about this, I actually shouldn't think of actual electrons moving like between
No.
battery to battery, because it's all fucking it's all you got to go quantum to actually really think about that. You're now dealing with fucking probability fields for these
Yes.
fucking things.
Yep.
So
Well,
so that's
what
probably
I
part
think of it as is like people. It's not like
It's electron clouds, not electron
Things-
dots.
it's not like a hose. It's like people doing the wave in a stadium.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's like surfing along the different
Well,
atoms.
I mean, that makes sense specifically with the hill metaphor of what we call voltage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're really just, everything wants to flow downhill, and just you're changing the hill. You put 2 batteries, you've made the hill bigger.
Personally,
you know, you put-
voltage is one of my favorite Mountain Dew flavors.
I love voltage. Voltage is
I
great.
get it every time I go to
Oh,
the fucking Quick Trip.
Wait. Wait.
Voltage is the
I-
berry one, like the
I was
blue
confusing
berry
it.
one.
I like Livewire.
Livewire, I love.
Livewire.
Also
But it's not always
electrical
there.
related though.
It is, yeah.
Mountain Dew Livewire.
Whereas Code Red is about dying.
That's true. All right, let's do an experiment for a YouTube video. How much Code Red do you need to drink before it kills you?
Can you replace all of your blood with cold red?
How long will you
I got-
survive?
I've got to I have to let the cheese out before I let the Code Red in.
Of your
Is that a
veins?
euphemism?
No, I always joke about my blood being cheese because of how much cheese I would used to consume.
Did you? You?
Oh, I
I'm kidding. I know you,
I
TJ.
mean,
I live with you.
if you want, I will eat a block of cheese on the podcast.
You've done it. I feel like
On
you've
the
done
podcast,
this on
though?
a podcast. Oh yeah.
I've
You
shared
commented
pictures
about how it was going to ruin your voice because you'd have like a cheesy
Oh yeah,
because
that's
it
right.
like increases mucus or whatever. I remember this. You had like a
Probably,
yeah.
block of cheddar you're eating.
That's why I
Yeah.
had a large Culver's custard shake before this.
I know, and
episode
that's smart.
recorded.
I've done cheddar. I've done Colby Jack. I've attempted a cream cheese block.
Ooh, I don't know if I would
I
do
could not
that.
finish that. That was rich. That was very rich.
That's a little rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I've had chunks of cream cheese.
That looks really, really damn
True to
good.
form. It is an actual bench.
Yes, it's a benchy, except for that this
Yeah.
bench had support underneath
Yeah.
the entire thing that I had to do because the thing that you'll learn 3D printing miniatures is that everybody has them built for resin printers, so they're not built with like FDM in
yeah.
mind. So like for instance, this entire thing is hanging, but I found some good support profiles. So I mean, it looks really bad underneath, like wavy, but it doesn't matter because no one's ever going to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the top parts look great, and I'm gonna spray paint this and paint it, and I have a little bench to put in a little dungeon. So that's what I've been printing. I printed, like I said, like this hobgoblin and other miniatures, and they look pretty good. I mean, like for FDM, like I don't know, people like to resin print stuff for miniatures, which makes sense because you just can get great
Yeah.
detail. But also, if you look at the miniatures you can buy from like WizKids or whatever, they are not as good quality as these FDM printed miniatures. Like
Yep.
they're injection molded and mass painted. So even my bad ones look fine. So
So
I'm okay with it. But like
with
printing
what you've
shit
been
like this on a resin printer
yeah,
isn't as good because it just takes so much longer, and you don't need the detail, I guess, with like a piece of furniture that I think that you need with a resin. So I have so I'm printing that. Oh, and I printed this, a Benchy, but it's with the Quantum 2-color silk, which looks amazing. By the way, this is incredible looking filament. I love my new printer. It's awesome. I mean, it's $750. It better be awesome. But hey, guess what? Bamboo Labs aren't cheap as shit anymore. They keep raising their prices because they're Chinese.
Yep.
So they're getting tariffed. Whereas Czechoslovakia, I think, is where Prusa's at. Where is it? Czech Republic?
Yeah.
They're in Czech Republic. Yeah.
I don't know what the current name is.
Czechia?
Czech Republic, I think, still exists. Czechia is something else, but I know what used to be Czechoslovakia has 6 countries now, 6 nations.
Prusa is in Czech Republic. Got it.
Okay. So John, you've been talking about, you've been doing your Pathfinder stuff for ever since I've known you.
Yeah, I started in college. So
all right, so
it's been like 20 years.
I've got a timer up on this computer for just 2 minutes. I want you to tell me everything you can about your current character, starting now.
Okay, I only have one character. Okay, cool. Because we usually run 2 campaigns. You don't have to start the timer now, but I just wanted to preface.
I already did.
Okay. Well, give me 3 minutes. So I just wanted to preface that usually we'll run 2 campaigns in my group and switch between, but I am running one of the campaigns, so I don't have a character in that one. I have an entire world I've created. But my character that I'm playing in the campaign that my friend is running is a half-orc barbarian.
Nerd.
Half-orc swashbuckler. So he comes from Port Peril, which, if you know, Galarian is a piratey area. And he's at a magical school where I'm a professor now because we've been playing it for a very long time. And I am a intimidation-based swashbuckler. So I gain my panache, which is like your energy points for the swashbuckler class, by intimidating. Or my secondary way is I am a master in acrobatics, so I can do crazy flips around people to gain my panache, which is like your flair points, and you use those to do combos and finishers. So I have a throwing dagger that I can do finishing moves with, and I have a short sword and a rapier that I can switch between whether I want piercing or slashing to do my finishing moves on. And since I'm an orc, I have scar thick skin, so I don't bleed very easily, so it's hard to put bleeding effects on me. But I do bleeding finishers against enemies, so I'm very much intimidating. And my favorite move is that when I kill an enemy, if I used a finisher to kill the enemy, I automatically get a free intimidate check on the next monster and an ability called You're Next. So I like the idea of me killing a guy and then looking at his friend with a scary glance and them getting intimidated by that. So
yep. So that's 2 minutes, and that's just me being jealous because I'm not part of a TTRPG group. So.
Yeah, I feel like I should run one over the internet. Because I'm sure Matt and Spanky might play, and Lauren might play.
Yeah,
I know.
Definitely.
I know that in the past we've joked about it because everyone and their brother had a TTRPG podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they still do, they still do. They're all over the fucking internet.
Yeah.
I think Adventure Zone is still doing its thing. I have no fucking clue because I don't follow the macro.
All I know about Adventure Zone is that I watched like an 1.5-hour video about how one of their campaigns is like bad.
Yeah.
And that's all I know about Adventure Zone.
Sounds like a good use of your time, John.
Yeah.
You know,
NADPOD, Worlds Beyond Number.
Part of it was because they were explaining the entire story of it, so it was like I was able to experience it without actually like having seen it, which was nice.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Was it like animals or something? I know there was one that made everybody really mad.
It was definitely the one that made everybody mad. So I listened to some of Adventure Zone. Is it Balance is the name of the arc that everybody hated?
Oh, that was
No, it's the first one.
The first one, yeah.
It was the one that Travis was running.
Yeah, that was Abnormals or something like that. I've only listened to the first campaign.
Yeah, that's the only one I
Right.
ever listened to too. Is it
I've been-
Graduation? Let me just look.
Maybe. That sounds familiar too.
COVID. No, you're talking about Abnormals is new. I think it was called Graduation. Yes, Travis the Dungeon Master. Yeah, it was bad. And then like the fucking whole like 2-hour video was like talking, just like breaking down how it was bad as like a setting and a campaign, and how it was like poor. And part of the reason why I listen to this is because I DM a campaign and I'm like, I want to make sure I'm not making these mistakes as well.
Yeah.
You know, so in the game that I run, I've created a world called Ouroboros? Yes, Ouroboros. And I have a whole bunch of stuff in it. So I could definitely run a campaign that takes place in the same world that isn't in the same like
Continuity.
as the other one. So I already have like settings and stuff. Or what would be even more fun, I think, would be to just run a pre-made one for me as a DM, because then I don't have to run 2 games.
That's fair.
Or create content for 2 groups. What I'd kind of like to do is do like an old school Essentials, or run like a Sword and Sorcery, which is like meant to be like first edition D&D.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot simpler in terms of mechanics. Because that might be fun. Otherwise, we could always run Pathfinder 2, because I have loads of stuff for that. I don't know any D&D, so I don't want to do 5th edition because I don't know anything about it,
I just want to be able to shout roll for initiative.
which you do in all of them. So
in all
Okay,
of them, yeah. Everything I know about tabletop RPGs is from watching Dimension 20, which I've
they
as
have
right
their
now
own
seen-
system, basically, right?
they have multiple systems. A lot of times they use a modified 5e.
Yeah.
Including the space one. They did a version based off of SW5e.
Sorry, it's called Swords and Wizardry.
Yeah.
It's an OSR, as they call it, which is Old School Revival. And I have loads of pre-built campaigns for Old School Revival. So that's probably what I would want to play, because I'd like to play something other than Pathfinder, just because I play that all the time, and it might be fun to try something else. And it's also pretty beginner friendly because of how simple the mechanics are in it. Because it's meant to be like a fighter fights, a wizard has a couple spells, whereas like in Pathfinder 2nd edition it gets really complicated. But there's also like a beginner box too. I don't know. We could talk about it. I wouldn't mind doing it over the internet. So maybe I can make a Discord channel. We can talk about it, and I could throw out some ideas of stuff that I have all of the books for already, and give you little blurbs about what the story is, and then you can decide if that sounds cool to you.
Oh,
We could
yeah,
stream
I
it
would
on,
definitely be
we could stream it
interested,
on
yeah.
Twitch if you wanted to, because that would be fun. Anyway, yeah, I love doing that. But you know what else I love doing?
Telling whether people are or are not the asshole.
Matt,
It's-
you are correct.
Yeah.
Sorry I delayed because
Alright.
I had to find the tab in which I had all of these fucking saved.
No, I thought I was teeing him up, but I got it wrong.
No, you were. I opened up a million tabs looking up fucking Final Fantasy stuff while TJ was talking. So
Of course.
yeah. And I feel like we could probably do the tabletop thing on a weekend, and we could even record it if people wanted to. Maybe we could do that instead of recording the podcast for at least other weekends when we're not recording episodes if we wanted to, just because it's fun, and I do love playing D&D. But anyway, this one is an Am I the Asshole from a month ago. Am I the asshole for how I handled my son's girlfriend spending the night?
Okay.
So there's not a lot of good information there. I mean, that's just the basic concept. A lot of times we can kind of glean a little bit.
I think you can get the idea where this is coming from, though. Like,
no,
this
I
is
can
a
get
mom,
where it's coming from.
Boyfriend's girlfriend spending the
from.
night. You know.
Yeah.
You could see all of that. Like, you know, where is she gonna sleep? Can't sleep in the boyfriend's room. You know. Anyway, let's get into it.
Well, it depends. Are they 30? Or are they like...
Well, I think
40?
I'll answer that in the first sentence. I have 2 children, Donna, 21F, and Austin, 19M.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Is this girlfriend his sister?
No.
Okay.
You're on the wrong sites, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh,
That would
okay.
be like on like Wattpad or something. Some
Fanfiction.net.
fiction. Yeah.
Wattpad.
Well, yeah.
Jeez. Yep.
Her brother is Harry Potter, and this is the story that I've written of Harry's sister.
Author's notes
stepsister.
longer than the actual content.
And the stepsister is very similar in looks and character as the person who's writing it. You know, like that's just fan fiction. Anyway, so both live at home, but also stay on campus at their respective colleges. So these are 2 kids in college. They live at home, but when they're in college, they're staying on campus.
Okay.
Austin has a girlfriend, Bridget, whom he's been dating for nearly a year. In their relationship, Bridget stayed over once while Donna was at school, and with Donna's blessing, she slept in Donna's room, so the sister's room, and Austin stayed in his own. They chose to sleep separately. There was no drama. Of course, early in their relationship, they're not going to be like, let's sleep in the same bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
This winter break, both kids were home. Towards the end of break, Bridget returned from out of state, but couldn't move back to her dorm yet.
Okay.
Sorry, my mouth is bleeding.
Yeah.
My braces.
Yeah.
I've got 2 months left. So Austin asked if she could stay with us for a few days. I agreed, but mentioned we need to figure out the sleeping arrangement since we don't have a guest room. Just mine my husband's room, Austin's and Donna's. Austin said that he and Bridget now share a bed, but his twin bed would be a tight fit. Donna has a full-size bed. So I suggested Donna and Austin switch rooms. I don't think she suggested this. So I suggested Donna and Austin switch room temporarily. Donna could use Austin's bed and Austin and Bridget would stay in theirs. I assured Donna I'd change the bedding afterward, but she was visibly upset and asked why Austin couldn't just sleep on the couch. I told her it was for only a few... That's a weird setup, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, hey, can your brother sleep with his girlfriend in your bed?
Yeah, that's
And
kind of
she's
fucky.
the older one, too. Like,
Yeah.
anyway, it was only for a few days since Austin wanted to share a bed with Bridget, and this arrangement made sense. So it sounds like she's okay with it, them sleeping in the same bedroom.
The parent, yeah.
I thought it would be different, but it sounds like this is a different problem.
Yeah. I'm kind of gonna call it here. The parent's kind of the asshole. You're not just gonna force your. Yeah, you guys switch beds because you got the bigger bed and there's 2 of them.
I agree.
When Bridget arrived, everything seemed fine at first. That night, Bridget went to bed early, and Donna pulled Austin aside in the kitchen. I couldn't hear the start of their conversation, but Austin suddenly started yelling, "Shut up! Why would you say that?" before storming into the living room. He loudly announced he'd never invite Bridget back if everything's such a problem. When I asked what happened, Austin explained that Donna asked him not to have sex with Bridget in her bed. He claimed he had no intention of doing that and accused Donna of being weird and trying to cause trouble. Oh, dang it. Donna said she had tried purposely to talk to Austin quietly to avoid a scene and hadn't said anything to Bridget. She also said it wasn't unreasonable to ask, given she knew Austin and Bridget were sexually active. I told Donna she didn't need to make such a big deal since I'd already promised to wash the sheets. Donna became upset and ended up staying with a friend for the rest of the break. School has since resumed, but Donna is barely responding to my calls or text. Austin told me Bridget overheard the argument and now feels uncomfortable being in our home or around Donna. My husband said Austin caused the scene by yelling and pointed out that Donna wasn't out of line by making her request. He also said I should never have let Bridget stay in the first place. Am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made a real fucking mess of this situation.
I mean, like, I would say a little bit of everyone's shitty here, because I feel like he overreacted to a pretty reasonable request that the sister made.
Very reasonable request. Yeah.
And then
I did forget that was an option.
But also, this never should have been a thing in the first place.
These conversations should have happened before that Bridget showed up.
Yeah.
At all.
Exactly.
Like, this should have already been.
They should have just been. I'm going to sleep on the floor.
Weird to be like, hey, give your brother and his girlfriend your bed for the night.
Well, especially if you think about it, she might be like not have a boyfriend, as well. Not that like that's like a huge deal, but like that kind of be shitty, like. You think the parent is favoring the kid that's got a girlfriend, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of you get that weird sibling rivalry stuff too. Like, oh, he's doing better than me.
There might be there might be some golden child's shit going on there too.
Well, especially with it being a boy and the mom, because a lot of times the moms will, that's my boy, like. Yeah. And sometimes the daughter and mom don't get along as well. And
with the fact that the sister's already being essentially being put out of your sanctuary, your space, your whatever, it's not an unreasonable request to be like, hey, I'm giving up this stuff, you can make the sacrifice, which isn't much of a sacrifice. It's more about respect, and that respect isn't given. But I think that the straight up, that's the asshole thing. Is that like you can't offer up your daughter's room? She has to do it. You know what I mean? Like that's that's just where it starts. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that one and that's basically exactly what Reddit says. I've got a good one.
So you're saying Reddit is 100% right?
Yeah.
Everything.
Reddit's never been wrong, especially this r/the Donald. They got a lot of good things going on there.
That's not still a thing, is it?
No, it's not. They I think there's the Donald website that exists now. For those people.
They're just all on True Social now.
I mean, r/conservative is kind of imploding right now.
Yeah, there are a lot of people fighting in that one because there's a lot of MAGA people.
That's one of those places I keep hearing about, but I will never actually step foot into.
Yeah,
like the Mos Eisley Cantina.
You won't be able to comment there anyway because almost everything is flared users only.
Yeah, and I heard they like ban you at the drop of a hat, like any sort of different opinion banned. John posts there all the time.
I do.
That's what I heard.
So I've got another one. One final one before we end. You ready?
Yes.
Am I the asshole?
Yes.
For reading during my lunch break.
No.
Then getting a bit snarky with a colleague.
Maybe?
No.
Okay. This is really weird.
Okay.
At the school where I work,
okay,
as well as the main library, we have a mini library in each classroom.
Okay.
During my lunch breaks, I like to sit in my classroom and read a book in from my classroom's mini library for about 10 or 15 minutes as it helps me relax ahead of the afternoon. Now.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what part of the world this person's in, but here we call it a bookshelf. A bookshelf.
Yeah. So I just imagine this person is like a second grade teacher, and I don't mean to gender this person, but I'm assuming it's a girl.
Okay.
it's just the first thing that's coming to my mind. Is an adult woman sitting down in one of those tiny little plastic chairs and reading like the Boxcar Children during her lunch break. I mean, hell, that sounds kind of good actually.
Just muttering, "Why won't someone call child services?"
Oh, these kids, they're in so much danger. Anyway, so 15 minutes helps them relax ahead of the afternoon. Today, one of my colleagues, not my superior, saw me doing this and accused me of, quote, stealing, as the books are for students, not the staff. She said if I do it again, she'll report me.
What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
I don't remove the books.
Insane.
I don't remove the books from the classroom, and I put them back on the shelf after my reading time. And I also don't discourage the kids from borrowing any of the books, even if it's one I'm already reading. The students aren't allowed in that part of the building over lunch, so I don't even know how. So they don't even know that I am doing this. They're just being very clear, so that they wouldn't even be discouraged from borrowing a book if they like knew I was reading one of them. You know what I mean? Several colleagues, including members of SLT. What's SLT?
So sexy library.
Matt, you're not in corporate America, so you don't know. TJ?
SLT?
I know this exact term.
Oh.
Senior leadership team.
Oh.
So that is like higher up. At least that's what we call that. We use the term senior leadership team all the time. So that's like not the CEOs, but whatever's like the level below that are in charge of everything. Have
the ones
that would be
really
the executive
mad with
team.
Power.
Sorry, go ahead. Yes, they go mad with power. Have come into my classroom.
That sweet middle management power.
So she's saying several colleagues, including members of SLT, have come into my classroom to ask me something while I've been reading, and no one's ever had a problem with it before. I explained this all to my colleague, but she said, "There's no excuse for stealing from work." First off, has this colleague been to a library and called the police on everyone leaving the building with a book? They're
I want to
stealing.
go on record as saying that I am very, very pro stealing from your employer. You know, whether it's book knowledge, pens, time.
Yeah,
steal what you can. One. That being said, this is not theft. This is not that.
I reminded her that staff can borrow and even take home books from our main library. So why wouldn't I be allowed to read books from the mini library? And I asked her if there was a rule against it. She said you shouldn't have to be told that stealing is wrong. And asked whether or not she caught me downloading a car. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just trying to imagine, is this colleague like 60 or something, or like that's where my brain wants to go, but also it could just be like a really annoying mid-20s like corpo.
I don't know. She
I'm
said,
just trying to imagine this type of person.
She
and
said
my brain is
you
breaking.
shouldn't have to be told that stealing is wrong, and asked whether if she caught me swiping a school laptop, I would expect her to turn a blind eye.
Yes.
I laughed at this. I couldn't help it, and asked if first off, our teachers probably are taking school laptops home to like grade.
Yeah.
Anyway, I told her to report me if she wants, and it will give everyone a good laugh. She got angry and told me stealing is not a joke, and that my attitude was disgusting, and reiterated that if she finds out I've done this again, she will report me before walking off. Feel free to disagree, but I don't think that reading one of the school's books over my lunch break is stealing. But I feel a bit bad for being rude to my colleague. Am I the asshole?
How dare you steal knowledge you're not allowed to look at? How dare you? This knowledge is for paying customers only.
Yeah.
Public school, not in this house.
Yeah. So I don't. I'd like to know more. I wish there was a way to like. Can you find? Is it? How do you find the like OP if they've answered anything? Because this person sounds like a not real person. You know. I guess I can just click their name.
I don't know. I've worked with some real suck ups that I could see doing this kind of thing.
This person also definitely appears to did not create a burner for this.
Oops.
R/teachers. Students refusing to stop talking about religion in class. Oh, I fucking love this, dude. I just want to say that I understand all students are entitled to their own religious views and to express them freely, but this is getting out of hand. I'm in the UK. Boom, boom. Literally everyone on Reddit's in the UK. I don't know what it, or on Am I the Asshole is from the UK. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
Shouldn't they be asking, are they the arsehole?
Arsehole, yep.
2 of my students will not stop talking about religion during lessons. I teach maths. TJ, you're a maths major.
I am a maths major. Because it's short for mathematics. We don't say I'm gonna take 10 photo of you.
Well, you got your trigonometry and your algebra and calculus, all different kinds of maths.
Arithmetics.
Yeah.
So this person, I guess the kids are just talking about like religion, and she gave them the detention because they were disrupting the class, and then they got mad because the parents called and got mad that they were given detention for talking about religion in class. And anyway, he said furthermore they're both ultra conservative and are saying things that are offensive, like homophobic and misogynistic and transphobic comments in their math class. Anyway, I'm just looking through this person who's posted. She did not respond at all. Student always falling asleep in class. This is a month ago. Is this a real person? See, because I like to look through these and see, like, is this a real person or is it someone doing, like, writing?
Somebody cosplaying as a teacher.
There's too many of these, though. Like, this person... Okay. If you could pick 3 famous people to team up with during the apocalypse, who would you pick? There's 3 upvotes to this. Did they write this one? They wrote this one. Okay. What do you think? What do you guys say?
What do I say, or what do I think this person? Chose?
No. What do you say?
3 people, huh?
I think this whole thing is just lady trying to shit on her coworkers, and this didn't really happen.
You think so?
I don't know.
No, what I'm saying is, what 3 famous people would you team up with during the apocalypse? Come on, TJ.
Now, before I answer this, did she post this, or did she respond to this?
No, she posted this.
This person's not real.
What makes you say they're not real?
3 famous people during the apocalypse?
They posted this up on Ask Reddit.
They thought this was going to be a huge conversation starter. They thought this thread was going to be huge.
I also don't know if this person is real. No, their cake day is 2016. And they have a verified email.
I've learned my lesson. I just assume every crazy person on the internet is real now.
So, if I needed a famous person during the apocalypse, I want someone to smack things hard. So we need a Serena Williams, because she knows how to hit things with a tool.
Serena Williams.
Famous people.
That's why you're picking Serena Williams. Okay, I got you. Wink, wink. Not, I gotcha. Serena Williams
Okay.
for her hitting skills. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm looking through the answers of other people who've done this, and there's a very clear theme. All right. What other two, TJ?
See, the problem is it said famous people and not celebrities,
Uh-huh.
and most celebrities still suck.
Yeah.
I might need someone who's a pilot.
Okay.
Is Sully still alive?
Yeah. Okay,
He's
so
famous enough.
so your crack
Wait.
team right now is Sully Sullenberger
Yeah.
and Serena Williams. Okay, what other S-named celebrity are you going to take? Now it has to be another S name.
It now has to be another S name.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal. He's tall.
He's tall.
He can reach things.
No, his knees are gonna give out any day now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sounds
It's
about right.
post-apocalyptic. You don't have knee
Okay, I'll give
replacements.
you a couple. Well, because Matt, I'm going to ask you too. So you got to think about this. But I'm going to give
Yeah,
you.
I'm,
So, okay,
I'm
hang on,
desperately
hang on,
trying to
hang on.
think of people
I've-
that
I've-
are not
I've got-
characters from TV shows.
I've got the last one in my head,
Uh-huh.
and it's not for the reason you think.
Oh God.
What's that fucking Steven Seagal? If we're gonna do an S name,
Okay.
because
Okay.
we after all the food sources are gone, we need someone to eat, and he's kind
I
of a
would
piece
not
of
want to
shit.
eat Steven Seagal. That's gone off, I think.
Yeah.
It's fine because Serena Williams could hit him with a tennis racket.
Yeah.
Then we could eat Steven Seagal.
I'll give you some of the Reddit answers. See if you can get the theme.
Okay.
I already figured out the theme, and I haven't seen this thread.
Okay. We've got most upvotes with 2, by the way.
With 2?
Yeah. Deleted account.
Okay. Yep.
Sydney Sweeney. So let me just see if you can get just see if you could get
That's an actor, right?
actress. Let's just see if you can get a theme with this one. Sydney Sweeney, Victoria Justice, and Alexandra Daddario.
Okay.
That's not a good
Oh.
survival team.
Oh.
What are their skills?
Oh.
Let's just say they have a lot of assets,
Yeah.
if you will.
Like, they're good at hunting, or
User PM Your Tasteful Nudes responded to that.
I think that
Dude
dude
picked
is
the
legit.
breast team possible.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Oh, or responded to that? Yes.
I would say 2 out of 3. I don't think of Victoria Justice. First off, Victoria Justice, that's weird to me because she's just like Zoe 101 to me. So
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of them are kind of on the young side. and
I
think
mean,
that's
yeah,
why
but
they were
Sydney
picked.
Sweeney's like Alexander Daddario's like 32 at this point. So, and Sydney Sweeney's like 28. Like, they're not too young. It's just that's the thing that's weird to me, is that all of these people that I think are young are like in their mid 20s. And then
Yep.
you talk to other people that are in their mid 20s, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess it isn't weird for you to like them.
Yeah, for them, yeah. That's
Like, I
that's
guess
fair.
personally, as someone who's now 40, do I think it's weird to think that Sydney Sweeney is attractive? Not really. But she also doesn't look young. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, Sydney Sweeney would be on my team. That's what I wanted to say. She's one of my picks. You know, I feel like she could talk her way out of anything. You know, that's my excuse. But we got another team here from Black Butterfree, Bear Grylls, Bear Grylls.
Okay.
Bear Grylls is on my team as well. That's a
That's
choice.
fair.
no.
Yeah.
Bear Grylls for survival strategies. Michelle Yeoh for martial arts defense. That's a weird pull. She is like 70, so you know, whatever. It's fine. I feel like you could pick somebody younger who's a martial artist, but you know, hey, Michelle Yeoh for the same reason as Sydney Sweeney for me as well. So I mean,
Fair.
to be fair. So I think that's my group. No. And then Chris Evans for sex, which I liked. They're just like, yeah, of course.
Yep.
And then we have Wank Badger responding. This is Nightmare Blunt rotation. Bear Grylls, Russell Crowe, and Bill Burr. Like, what a fucking crew that would
No.
be, huh?
What the fuck?
And then Famous Search responded, people on Reddit are fucking insane. Responded not with an answer, but with, I assume people who had military skills before acting, whoever they are. You didn't even bother to look up people. You didn't even answer the question. So for me, Bear Grylls, Sydney Sweeney, and the third person will be, who would be good, like a bodyguard. I think, you know what, I'm just gonna go because he's on the mind right now. John Cena. He's big and tall, and he seems like he's funny, and I feel like he could help me lift things. And he seems like he'd be a fun hang. The only problem is that he and Sydney Sweeney would be getting off together and not me. So I have to I have to cut his face up or something, you know?
Yeah.
Before. He needs to get
Okay,
burned.
I got mine.
He needs to get burned badly in the nuclear explosion so he looks like a ghoul.
It might be easy to do. He just heel turned, so
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's why he's in the mind right now. So, Alexander Daddario, that would be good too. But, you know, what can I say?
Okay, I got mine.
Okay.
I got mine. Nick Offerman.
Oh, that's a good pull.
yes, it is.
I've been listening to his audiobooks, by the way. There's like autobiographies that he reads. Listening to him read them is just so good. He's got such a good voice for that. Anyway. Go
Not
ahead.
Bear Grylls.
Uh-huh.
Les Stroud.
Survivor Man.
Okay.
That's a
There
good
you
pull.
And Rosario Dawson.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to bring up about this too is that I have like an ARMA group, you know, and they're all like in their 20s, and like hearing them talk about like the like celebs that they think are hot is so weird, and it's like they're what's
like,
her name?
I've never heard of these.
No. What's her name? Who's the Wednesday Addams girl?
Oh yeah, it's Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega. That's the one that was like, she's like a kid. You know what
She's
I mean?
a baby.
Like to
She's a
me,
baby
that's
to
too
me.
young.
Yeah.
But somehow, Sydney Sweeney not. I think it's just because like Euphoria. I don't know if you've seen that show, but she's very adult in that, and so I don't think of her as a kid. I guess.
No, I haven't watched that show because I think it would make me sad.
That too. But yeah, I guess it's just there's the cutoff line to me, and then I realized that like all of my like hall pass celebs are like in their 40s and 30s, and I'm like, this is just people that were my age basically. Like Natalie Portman, she's 41, you know, she's my age. Like that's it, you know. Like I don't know, or Amy Adams, you know, she's older than me. She's like 50, so but I don't know. I guess it's just of the time, you know. Now I feel old. That's what I'm saying. This made me feel old. All
Give
right.
it to the gilfs.
So we, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's where we'll be eventually.
That's where it's all headed.
So anyway, last one. There's also students falling asleep in class, but the final one I want to go over from this person is.
Oh yeah, we were doing
From this person, yeah,
We're just going through them at asshole. Just this person's post history because I found it fascinating. Random person 1993 asks, DAE. Do you know what that is?
Does anyone else?
Yep. I had never heard of this Reddit community, but here we go. Does anyone else have full-on arguments with yourself in your mind?
Yeah.
Especially when I have
traditionally,
Go ahead.
DAE or unpopular opinion is just followed by like the most common bullshit ever.
Yeah. Especially when I negative self-talk. Part of my mind will be like, I'm the worst person in the world. I deserve to burn in hell. I should just kill myself and the world would be a better place. And then the other part will be like, stop being so dramatic. There are people worse than you. The first bit might say, shut the fuck up. Think about those kids who were talking about religion that you lied to. No, I'm kidding. And got in trouble with the principal. No. Shut the fuck up. Think about the really stupid thing I did that upset someone. And then the second one will say, that was 15 years ago. Get over it. You didn't mean to hurt them. First part, it doesn't matter. I fuck up no matter what I do. Second part, shut up. You're just annoying me now. And then it goes on for hours. Usually when I'm trying to sleep. Can't seem to control either side. They're just intrusive thoughts, I guess. Anyone else relate?
You should go to therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Everyone has that. I think everyone has a little imposter syndrome in them. Everyone has a little.
Maybe not for hours.
Yeah,
though.
ours
Yeah,
is
you're-
like
you're
for me. It's
clearly
like
not like dealing with it well. So go learn some strategies and stuff.
Therapy's good.
All right.
That's the end
Brought
of the
to you by
episode.
BetterHelp.
So
We'll sell your data.
so my little probably ADHD brain went from imposter syndrome, thought it sounded like pasta, and just wanted to throw out the fact that I completely had to throw away a batch of pasta I made today. 'Cause
Why?
I was trying
I'm so
to make
sorry for your loss.
I was trying to make some pasta limone,
Okay.
and the lemon was bad.
Oh no.
How do you tell when a
Yeah,
lemon goes bad?
Well, all the lemons
it just
around
tastes
it,
the worst.
all the lemons around it were moldy, and this one wasn't. So the zest and the juice that I squeezed into it, and then I had the first bite, and I'm like, I just felt it in the back of my throat. It was wrong, so I threw everything away, and
Aw.
then and since we didn't have any more lemons, I just made some like a cacao pepe or
Yeah,
whatever it's
yeah.
fucking called.
Yeah, that's good anyway.
It is
That cacio e pepe, yeah.
cacio pepe, yeah,
Which is what is it? It's just cheese and pepper, right?
cheese and pepper,
Yeah,
yeah.
just Parmesan and black pepper. I like that one. I like olio, which is just olive oil and salt and garlic.
Yeah.
That one's good too. Pasta's good. That's the end of the episode. Good night.
Bye.
Pasta, good. Born in the 80s.
My-
Brought to
5
you by the
stars.
Pasta Council.
My first pasta was impasta.